Very warm welcome to all of you. So, today we have gathered to attend the session on financial projections and valuation for startup and calculation of return on investment. So, the lecture will be delivered by CA Paras Bafna ji. He is Chief Financial Officer at Tynor Orthotics Private Limited. He is also Director of Techmatters Private Limited. It's a venture capital firm. And besides this, he has a vast experience and has worked in various MNC companies, including Maruti Udyog, ITC Limited, Cargill India Private Limited, McCann Foods India Private Limited. He also have received various awards, including BW Business World CFO World Finance 40 Under 40 Award, Excellence in Corporate Governance and Compliance. So I welcome Paras Bafna ji for being here and going to deliver a lecture on our very crucial topic for our startups in terms of raising funds. So this is going to be a very important session. So it's up to you, Paras Bafna ji.
Thank you, sir. How much time do I have so that recording?
So we have approximately 2 hours, including discussions. So, and PowerPoint presentations.
So good evening, everyone. I'll come to this particular document in a while.
So the same program.
Good evening, everyone. I think some familiar faces also basis the last meeting that we had at Tynor faces, which I could see. Before we start this particular topic, I have also gone through the various kind of workshops that you guys have gone through. And some are technical in nature, some are, I think, in financial in nature, and some are, I would say, entrepreneurial in nature, right? Uh, I hope many of you would have also watched Shark Tank, be it Indian season or be it a global season, and you would have, I think, gained some insights as to what does a boardroom or a pitch discussion looks like. But those discussions are mainly, I would say, curated, rehearsed at least 20 times, then are presented to those sharks. It's not that it's an impromptu discussion that happens. Normally, a particular shark is invited to be there for 48 hours before. Then they are rehearsed. Then all their lines are again reviewed, and then they present to the sharks. So that's the background. But that's not only a 48 hours of work. That's, I would say, a journey from their childhood, because an entrepreneur who wants to become a businessman would have certain skill set which would be there from, I think, childhood only, right? So one topic will not make you, I would say, a business tycoon, but I think every day 1% effort or 0.1% effort that we make makes us what we are today. This particular chapter would be kind of a 2 hour discussion, but I would take 1 hour so as to explain all of this in detail. You have two options. One option, you can stop me in between if you are not able to understand and ask questions then and there. However, if anything is not covered, then at the end also you can ask as many questions as you want. Dr. Sadaf has given a certain background about mine, wherein I have worked with different organizations. However, there has been a journey as to what we have learned over the last 20-25 years.
Sorry, sir, I couldn't arrange the glass.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So It's important that as an entrepreneur, we need to understand the business aspect, the financial aspect, the governance aspect, and environmental aspect. The reason being, if you are able to make a difference to the community and country at large, your business will succeed because you are solving a problem. First. Second, if you are solving a problem, it has to be a mass. If it is premium, then define your target segment, which would have covered in a separate topic. Third, when you define your moat, I hope everyone is aware about moat. What is moat? If everyone is aware about their moat, their TAM is what? Total addressable market. If everyone is aware of the product category that they want to enter into, that they have entered into, TAM is important. Understanding product reports and survey reports are important. At the same time, what problem are you planning to solve? And if you have that particular skill in you so as to solve that particular problem, then you are the expert in that problem solution. However, there are various aspects of running a business. Though I am in finance, it doesn't mean that from last 20 years I am only doing finance. Because as a chief financial officer, you need to understand the operations, you need to understand the governance, you need to understand whether there is any control breach or not in the organization. And the foundation is set from day one. The way you want to set up your business, the business will bloom and bloom. The way you want the business to grow, it will grow. For example, in our organization, in the current organization, we normally put strong emphasis on processes. Why? Because you are not the only one who will be selling, you are not the only one who will be producing, there will be other team members also. And you need to create certain processes so that it is uniform across that particular department. And as entrepreneurs, our responsibility is to ensure those processes are met to the T. And that's how you will grow in life, in your career, in your business. I was in Maruti in my first organization. It's a Japanese company. Everything was set. What you need to do at 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 12:30 a.m. in finance. And all the processes and outputs were set. What kind of review my CFO will do, what kind of review the business heads will do, they were all documented. Those who have understood the Japanese concept, there is a concept called ringi. Is anyone aware about ringi? What happens? There is a budget which you need to spend. Ringi means a process of approval if anyone is breaching that particular budget. Then that was classified into three types: A, B, and C. What is A? A are those category of spends wherein whatever budget you have given, there can't be any variance. There can't be any variance means zero variance. B category of spends are those wherein accumulated those spends, for example, travel. So travel, domestic travel, international, cab, local, all taken together, there can't be any variance. C would be there can be 15-20% of variance because there is no surety of any kind of spending that you have at that particular moment. Right? If there is any deviation in A, B, or C, there were repercussions. There were approval processes. There were time lags, and your processes were getting delayed, which means you need to plan better. Right? And if you plan better, you will be able to achieve the right outcome. I hope everyone is aware about contingency. Right? Whenever we have any kind of planning, it's important that we create our contingencies. As business in any organization, be it Maruti, Cargill, McCain, which was a French fries Canadian company, and now Tynor, whenever we plan anything, we create a contingency budget also. So always create a contingency budget be it financial or be it non-financial. So there are two concepts that I have shared. One is ringi, another is contingencies. These two things will help you plan better, right? Now tell me, who all are here from finance background? Anyone from finance background here? None? Do you face difficulty in no one? Anyone who has created their business plan? You have created a business plan. Anyone else? So what does a business plan look like? Anyone, those who have created a business plan, what does a business plan mean?
Basically a plan to actually how your business will move ahead for like next 2 years, previous 2 years.
Okay. Anyone else?
We set timelines and targets for next few years और उसमें operations को कैसे करना है, outreach को कैसे manage करना है, finances में क्या burn होगा, क्या revenue होगा, इस तरह की एक planning है.
Right. Anyone wants to add here? Right. See, when we say business plan, what does an investor look wants? ROI is an outcome, but what they will ask for is your short-term business plan, mid-term business plan, and long-term business plan. Right? These three elements are critical. Long-term business plan, depending upon your business size, depending upon the kind of stage you are in, can be either 5 years or 10 years. Mid-term business plan can be either 3 years or 5 years. Short-term business plan is for 1 year. And now what is business plan? You have shared some of the aspects. The business plan is the trainings that you have done so far also has those elements. Is there some issue there?
Someone is having online. Someone.
Then in the
So in case of business plan, we normally start with कि we have only 1 lakh to invest. बैंक में मेरे पास तो इतना ही पैसा है, तो उसी से मुझे बजटिंग करनी पड़ेगी. No. As a business plan creator, you need to first understand and create a concept of unlimited resource availability at your desk. सबसे पहला ऑब्जेक्टिव ये होना चाहिए आपका कि मेरे पास अनलिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ पीपल, पैसा और एनी काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट दैट आई नीड. अगर वो आपके पास है और आपके पास बिजनेस आइडिया है, सो व्हाट डू यू वांट टू डू इन द नेक्स्ट 5 years? Right? That becomes your long-term business plan. If you have a finite resource out of that infinite resource, और उस इनफाइनाइट रिसोर्स से आपको फाइनाइट रिसोर्सेज प्लानिंग करनी है, क्योंकि आपके पास 5 साल का आज विजिबिलिटी इतनी नहीं है. बट अगर आपके पास अनलिमिटेड आइडियाज़ हैं, अनलिमिटेड सोच है, तो पहले ज़ीरो डाउन करके 5 ईयर का बिजनेस प्लान बनाओ कि मेरे पास पीपल है, आई हैव मनी ऑल्सो एंड आई वॉन्ट टू क्रिएट दिस. देन उसमें से आप निकालो व्हाट इज़ डूएबल फ्रॉम अ मीडियम टर्म पर्सपेक्टिव. क्या इतना तो मैं कर लूँगा? दैट बिकम्स योर मिड टर्म बिजनेस प्लान. Then carve out your short-term business plan out of mid-term business plan with the money that you have at your table. Then you will be able to make money after 5 years. Then you will be able to grow the business that you want to grow in the 5 years, right? It's important to have some numbers, some outcome in your business plan. और business plan को आपको bifurcate क्या करना है? 3 parts में. First part, business plan has to have all the numbers that you want to achieve. चाहे वो revenue है, EBITDA है, profitability है, market share है. Have you heard of blue chip companies? What are blue chip companies? Anyone who wants to share what is a blue chip company? एक कोई कंपनी का नाम बताओ, ब्लू चिप कंपनी कौन सी है?
Large scale companies having
Yes.
presentation
Right.
like Microsoft,
Right.
Tata,
Yes.
Reliance, etc.
Right. Infosys. इन सब कंपनीज का नाम सुन के हमें क्या लगता है? They have a large scale of turnover. They have good governance. अगर वहाँ पे फायरिंग भी होती है तो न्यूज़ आती है. वहाँ पे अगर कुछ एनवायरनमेंट के लिए उन्होंने कुछ किया है टाटा ने, तो वो भी आपके पास न्यूज़ आएगी. और अगर वहाँ पे उनकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी में कुछ इशू आया है तो भी आपके पास न्यूज़ आएगी. क्यों? क्योंकि दीज आर ऑल्सो लिस्टेड कंपनीज. बट if you are a blue chip company, then there are certain points which we need to ensure. हम आज ब्लू चिप कंपनी नहीं बन रहे हैं, बट सोच तो सबकी है ब्लू चिप कंपनी बनने की, तभी हमने बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं. येस और नो? डज एवरीवन एस्पायर टू हैव देयर कंपनी एज अ ब्लू चिप कंपनी? पहले मुझे बताओ. कौन कौन हाथ उठा लो पहले. कौन कौन अपनी कंपनी को ब्लू चिप कंपनी बनाना चाहता है? ऑलमोस्ट ऑल. राइट. अब ब्लू चिप कंपनी आज तो डे वन पे बनेगी नहीं. इन्फोसिस आज तो बनी नहीं है. इट टेक्स टाइम, right, through perseverance and hard work. But there are certain parameters you need to review every month, every quarter as a business owner. तभी होगा. Every month you will improve and then you become a blue chip company. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Sometimes it can be fast, sometimes it can be slow, but it will take time. Right? There are certain parameters as to how can a company become a blue chip company. I hope the screen is visible, or I can maximize the size also here.
Visible, sir.
Visible? Okay. First is market leadership. आप किसी कैटेगरी में अगर जा रहे हैं, so I am slightly deviating from ROI and payback because I'll come to that. But I want to share what companies like McCain, Maruti, or other companies would have been doing. Basis my experience, I am sharing it with you. इस पॉइंट्स में मैं आ रहा हूँ. ब्लू चिप कंपनी ये बने कैसे? इन्होंने बिजनेस प्लान को पहले 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया. ऑल दीज कंपनीज हैव अ बिग लॉन्ग टर्म प्लान ऑल्सो. मिड टर्म प्लान भी है और शॉर्ट टर्म प्लान भी है. अब इन्होंने क्या किया? दे हैव ऑल्सो डन, आई होप हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश बोथ इज ओके, कंफर्टेबल टू एवरीवन. In case of short-term business plan, they have again bifurcated their business plan indicators into 3 types. One is numerical business plan. आप numerical business plan में ऐसे 10 या 12 पैरामीटर what do you want to achieve? Revenue, profitability, market share, production, wastage, leakages क्या हो रहे हैं, qualities क्या है आपकी. Any 10 parameters which you want to review every day, every month should be the numerical indicators of your business plan. Second would be any kind of project that you need to do so as to achieve those numerical parameters in that 1 year. For example, market share आज आपका 10 है, आपको 20 करना है. उसके लिए कुछ project करना पड़ेगा. क्या project? For example, you need to implement a software so as to have the visibility of your sale. Then only you will be able to see your market share. That software implementation is a project. So list down those projects and link it to those numerical indicators. Third element is future and unlinked plan. आपके पास मिड टर्म बिजनेस प्लान है, सबके पास है अभी, सबके पास सोच में है अभी जो बात कर रहे हैं. एक्चुअली में नहीं है तो ठीक है, सोच में आ गई बिजनेस मिड टर्म बिजनेस प्लान. In order to achieve that mid-term business plan, you need to work from today. कुछ अचीव आप आज कर रहे हो, कुछ कल करोगे, बट एनी प्रोजेक्ट दैट यू आर डूइंग सो एज टू अचीव एनी न्यूमेरिकल इंडिकेटर आफ्टर 2 years, उसको भी ग्रेजुअली आज स्टार्ट करो पैरेलली. सो डिवाइड योर टाइम इनटू 60, 30, 10. 60 to achieve your numerical parameters, 30 to achieve those projects which are linked to your numerical parameter for the short term, 10% have an eye on those mid-term business plan projects. और सबको वेट देके 100 पे लेके आओ, जिससे कि आपको पता चले कि इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, प्रायोरिटी क्या है, right? And that's how you will be able to create your business plan and present to any kind of investor or any kind of distributor, supplier, etc. These are the indicators of a blue chip company. Normally blue chip company क्या करती है, अपनी market leadership में 2-3 parameters review करेगी. Top 3 industry position चलो अभी आपका नहीं है, but what is your ranking? और आज से 1 साल बाद आप क्या रैंक अपने आप को देना चाहोगे जिस भी कंपनी के साथ, if you are comparing? There has to be an improvement in your ranking. Second would be, what is the brand strength and recognition? Do those consumer survey, have that pulse of your brand, whether whatever you are selling as a concept, either to B2B or to B2C, whether they are giving the right feedback to you or not. Through those feedback, convert them into scores and create your brand strength score. Because today, at the start, we don't have the capacity to buy reports of IMRB, AC Nielsen. Has anyone heard of AC Nielsen and IMRB here? No. When you are going into any category of your business, these are the two companies who give you all kind of data for those categories. अगर आप साबुन बेचना है, आपको तेल बेचना है, आपको कोई मशीन बेचनी है, आपको कोई अगर क्रीम बेचनी है, फूड बेचना है, AC Nielsen normally tracks all of these categories and give you a quarterly report of all the brands that are available in the category, कि उनकी न्यूमेरिक एंड वेटेड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन क्या जा रही है, ईस्ट में कितना ग्रो कर रहे हैं वो, कहाँ कौन सा प्रोडक्ट बिक रहा है सबसे ज़्यादा. उससे आपको एक आइडिया होगा कि आपका प्रोडक्ट उससे रिलेटिव में कैसा है. दूसरी एक रिपोर्ट आती है IMRB से. They're all agencies, global agencies, but they have stronghold in India also. IMRB क्या करती है, कुछ एक मेजर्स काउंट करती है, लाइक टॉम, स्पॉन्ट. टॉम इज टॉप ऑफ द माइंड. कौन सा टूथपेस्ट आपके लिए सबसे अच्छा है, आपके लिए विच टूथपेस्ट टॉप ऑफ द माइंड, कौन सा ब्रांड आया, कोलगेट, पेप्सोडेंट, एक्सेट्रा, राइट. ये सब IMRB ट्रैक करती है कि कोलगेट, पेप्सोडेंट अगर टूथपेस्ट में है, बाकी फूड आइटम्स में क्या है, कौन सा ब्रांड है जो टॉप 10 में है, किसकी रैंकिंग क्या है, वो हर महीने, हर क्वार्टर, क्योंकि many companies are doing brand ads so as to improvise their brand recognition to the consumers, and these agencies then give the report as to where are these standing. उससे आपको insights मिलती है अपने कंपनी के लिए. तो अपनी भी brand strength score बनाओ, recognition score बनाओ with whatever consumers you are selling. I'll discuss the green points which are highlighted in green in brief. ROC and ROE, return on capital employed and return on equity. Capital employed, in the normal language, whatever capital that you deploy in your business, what is the kind of return that you are getting in percentage terms? Return divided by capital employed. If you are taking any loan, so what is the loan divided by EBITDA? I hope everyone is aware about EBITDA. जो स्टार्टअप कर रहा है उसको EBITDA पता, किसको EBITDA नहीं पता है, अभी बताओ, रेज योर हैंड्स. EBITDA नहीं पता है. Oh. When you are starting a business, it's important that you need to understand the EBITDA. What is EBITDA? Earning before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Earning before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. आपने एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया, 100 रुपये में बेचा, उसको बनाने के कुछ स्पेंड आया, ट्रांसपोर्ट, फिक्स कॉस्ट, राइट, एनी काइंड ऑफ मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट दैट यू हैव डन, उसको माइनस करके जो आपके प्रॉफिट आया, दैट इज EBITDA. Then there are certain earning stability, EBITDA margin stability. ब्लू चिप कंपनी क्या करती है, आपके एक साल प्रॉफिट हो 30%. अगले साल लॉस हो जाए 30%, is it manageable? नहीं. There has to be a consistent growth. As a startup, there can't be consistent growth. However, you need to be aware of what kind of growth are you looking at and be cognizant of that. But because आज नहीं तो कल, after 3 years, 5 years, there has to be certain stability. Only then you will be able to predict your business better. Profitable during downturns or not, because there can be extreme situations, COVID, any kind of calamity, any kind of import tariffs, export tariffs, etc., can result in the expenses increase in the product. Revenue and customer diversification. If you are selling in B2B, do you want to enter into B2C? If you are having a revenue from one product, do you want to launch new products? कितना आपको डाइवर्सिफाई करना है, कितने प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करने हैं, वो इसमें आएगा. Then there are pricing power, what price you can command by selling it to the customer. Independent and competent board. How many of you have LLP, limited liability partnership, or a private limited company as of now? 1 2 3 4. बाकी सब एज अ प्रोप्राइटर वर्क कर रहे हैं कि अभी तक किस भी स्टार्ट नहीं किया कुछ भी? Okay. It's important to register your company if you are serious for your business. If you want to try it out and then you want to decide, then it is okay. But if you are really serious in your business, register your company either in the form of private limited or in the form of LLP or in the form of partnership. Why is it important? 2 या 3 साल बाद बिजनेस ग्रो करेगा, ट्रेजेक्टरी दिखानी पड़ेगी 3 साल पहले ये था, और उसी में दिखाओगे तो anyone can review an audit and can give you better scores if you want to raise fund. You can hire people under that particular company. You can ensure all those compliances that are required, right? Clean governance and disclosure transparency. It's important that from day one you have a strong governance. मैंने आपको बोला कि प्रोसेस स्ट्रांग होनी चाहिए, आपकी कंट्रोल्स आपके बनने चाहिए. टेक हेल्प. There are many individuals available, I would say, in the country who can give you help without money also. Your money is a constraint. But have those guides and mentors and group of people in your group who can help you, guide you for different ailments. Clear and defensible moat. कौन सी कैटेगरी में आपको जाना है, कहाँ जाना है, ये आपके क्लियर होना चाहिए. So I'm just giving certain examples as to what does a blue chip company would measure some of the criteria. They would be measuring other criteria also. For example, Tata, Infosys, they also measure ESG. Environment में उन्होंने क्या किया, social में क्या किया, governance में क्या किया. अभी आपको नहीं करना, ठीक है, but as you move ahead, be cognizant of these facts also. I'll take a pause now. Any questions from anyone? Anyone would like to share anything about this? Anyone who is doing it, not doing it, do they need any kind of help? Business discussion, I'm open to business discussions also. Yes.
So, as a startup, out of the
I think you have to switch on the mic also. People who are on the call will not be able to listen.
so out of this green point that I highlighted, as a startup, which are the top, I guess, 3 to 4 points that I actually need to focus on right now since I'm a pre-revenue startup.
Product launches,
Okay.
quality of the product.
Okay.
So have a quality parameter that you want to improve.
Right.
Third would be any kind of capex that you want to invest.
Right.
As in, if you are wanting to have a manufacturing setup, then you need to have a machine. You need to have furniture fixtures. So what kind of capex you are planning in the current year? Budget of that particular capex you need to measure.
Okay.
Right. Fourth would be the kind of customers you want to target. number of customers you want to do visits per month, per quarter, per year.
Okay. So, as in my case, I'm still figuring out what exactly, which domain actually I would enter with my product. That is basically a material, not a product. So with that material, I need to enter into some domain, and I'm still figuring it out after 1.5 years. So how can I fasten up that process to the thing that you discussed?
So there is a one important element of called as competition benchmarking
Okay.
or a benchmarking analysis. The kind of material that you are into can give you maybe 10 types of products as an output, right? But you need to shortlist which product do you want to enter into. These products would be already sellable in the country by different companies. Take out their financials, profit and loss statement, their annual report. Even if it is a private limited company, it is available, right? Compare their sales, profitability, kind of expenses they are incurring. At the same time, if you have money, maybe around 1 or 2 lakhs, you need to spend in taking the report from AC Nielsen or IMRP so that you understand what market, which region, which city this product is widely sold, and do that comparison. One comparison is financial, another is technical, third is market comparison of those products. And give a score. Convert everything to a number. You should have the skill set of converting everything to a number. Then you will be able to do like comparison as to which product is more profitable or scalable from a long term perspective. Basis these 3 parameters, once you put down all of these, then you will find the market, the right fit, the right quality, and the right price at which these products can be sold. And then prioritize. If there are 10 products, maybe after 10 years you will be into all of these 10 products, right? But prioritize year 1 these 2 products, year 2 3, year 3 maybe another 4 products, and leave aside the balance to product. Yeah, I'm not sure, I don't want to enter into these products. Basis these analysis. As startups, it's important that we enter into the right category basis our skill set and the market gap that is there. This is not the topic, I would have covered that topic also today, but it's important to compare those 3-4 parameters so that you are able to analyze and come to an outcome which product is the right market fit if you have multiple choices. Well, any other question? Yes.
Yes, please.
जब भी हम किसी नंबर पे आने की कोशिश करते हैं, फॉर इंस्टेंस हम टाइम कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, सो राइट नाउ वी कैन सी कि कुछ रिपोर्ट्स हैं ऑनलाइन जो बता रही हैं कि लेट्स से 25,000 करोड़ की अभी करंट मार्केट है एंड मे बी इट विल ग्रो बाय 10,000 करोड़ इन नेक्स्ट 5 years. We see that there is a technological gap. If that fills, we may onboard, let's say अभी उस टेक्नोलॉजी को 10% लोग यूज कर पाते हैं, we can onboard 50 more percentage of the total addressable customers. तो उस केस में टाइम कैसे कैलकुलेट करना है, हमें प्राइसिंग नहीं पता, हमें जो कॉम्पिटिटर्स सर्विसेज दे रहे हैं उनकी फाइनेंशियल डेटा हमारे पास नहीं. हाउ टू गेट टू दोज नंबर्स कि आपकी प्राइसिंग क्या होगी एंड जो लार्जर मार्केट एड्रेस करनी है उसका साइज क्या होगा.
राइट. आपको इसके लिए 2 महीने निकालने पड़ेंगे. यू विल हैव टू ट्रैवल द कंट्री, go to those outlets and create your survey report of 15-20 questions. Go to maybe around 300 outlets, 400, depending upon your time, space, money that you have. आपको 50 लोग तो धक्के देके निकाल देंगे, हम आंसर ही नहीं देंगे, राइट? बट 100 लोग अच्छे हैं दुनिया में, वो आपको सर्वे फिल करके देंगे. उस सर्वे से आप आउटकम निकालोगे कि ये प्रोडक्ट, आपको सपोज कुछ पता ही नहीं किस कैटेगरी में जाना है, तो आप केमिस्ट शॉप में जाओगे, केमिस्ट में आप 2 क्वेश्चन लिखोगे, यहाँ पे प्रोडक्ट से ज़्यादा कौन सा बिकता है, OTC कौन सा बिकता है, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन ड्रिवन कौन सा बिकता है, किस तरह के कंज्यूमर आते हैं, कौन से एज ग्रुप के आते हैं, राइट? कब आते हैं, सुबह आते हैं, दोपहर में आते हैं, शाम को आते हैं, इस तरह से 15-20 क्वेश्चंस बनाओगे, कुछ इंटेलिजेंट, कुछ फनी क्वेश्चंस आल्सो, so as to understand the pulse. Similarly, if you have a B2B product, you will go to different companies to do the survey. वहाँ पे 1000 में से आपको 700 कंपनीज नहीं देगी, बट 300 फिर भी देगी आपको. इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट टू ट्रैवल एंड अंडरस्टैंड थ्रू वेरियस सर्वेज. गूगल करके हम जो रिपोर्ट निकालेंगे उससे सिर्फ दिमाग स्ट्रांग होगा, प्रैक्टिकली विल नॉट बी एबल टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम. फॉर दैट यू हैव टू ट्रैवल डिफरेंट लोकेशंस, गांव में, विलेज में, टाउन में, जो भी आपका मार्केट प्रोडक्ट है या कंपनीज में, उससे यू विल बी एबल टू फाइंड, उससे यू विल बी एबल टू फाइंड एन आउटकम. दैट इज़ वन स्टेप सर्वे से आया. अब है कि प्राइसिंग क्या होनी है. आपने प्रोडक्ट तो देख लिया, प्राइसिंग क्या होनी है. एट द स्टार्ट ऑलवेज डू कॉस्ट प्लस प्राइसिंग. आपको जो बनाने में खर्चा लग रहा है उतना आप रिकवर कर लो, तो वो प्राइसिंग हो गई. बट आगे क्या ये स्केलेबल है कि नहीं है, ये थर्ड पॉइंट है. कि सपोज 1 साल मैंने कॉस्ट रिकवर कर ली, प्रोडक्ट बना लिया, बट कल को वेदर इट विल बी ग्रोइंग और नॉट, उसके लिए क्या होगा, तब आपको ये सब रिपोर्ट्स काम आएंगी कि ये ग्रोथ कैसी है, यहाँ पे मार्केट है कि नहीं है, आर वी सॉल्विंग एनी पर्टिनेंट और रियल प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द कंट्री और ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर, आई वुड से, सेक पीपल और क्लास ऑफ पीपल हु आर टू हुम यू आर टारगेटिंग. नाउ इफ आई कम टू B2B इंडस्ट्री में, अगर आप कुछ ऐसा रॉ मटेरियल कुछ बना रहे हो कि आज कुछ एक यान है, मे बी आपने कुछ एक डिफरेंट तरह का यान बनाया फॉर टेक्सटाइल फैब्रिक्स एंड विच यू वांट टू सेल इट टू B2B, वहाँ कैसे करोगे. वहाँ तो ऑलरेडी देयर आर प्लेट सप्लायर्स, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सप्लायर्स. वहाँ पे आपको क्या होगा, इनिशियली यू विल हैव टू मूव फ्रॉम मैन्युफैक्चरर टू अ ट्रेडर ओनली. अगर आपके पास नॉलेज नहीं है, नॉलेज में तब की बात कर रहा हूँ, नॉलेज पैसा सब है तो आप सेटअप कर सकते हो. बिकम अ ट्रेडर फॉर एटलीस्ट 6 months or 1 year. अंडरस्टैंड दैट मार्केट. ट्रेडर में क्या होगा, आप किसी से लोगे, किसी को सेल करोगे, भले आप नो प्रॉफिट नो लॉस में करो, बट यू विल अंडरस्टैंड कि कौन क्या ले रहा है, और आपके रिलेशनशिप आप बिल्ड कर रहे हो इन सब कंपनीज के साथ. एंड दैट्स हाउ देन यू मैन्युफैक्चर एंड सेल दोज प्रोडक्ट्स इन द लॉन्ग रन टू दोज कंपनीज.
सेकंड थिंग, किसी भी कंपनी में जब हमें इस तरह की इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, हु इज द राइट पर्सन टू गेट इन टच विद. क्योंकि डिफरेंट कंपनीज हैं जो छोटे स्केल में है, वहाँ पे डायरेक्टर या एमडी ही डायरेक्टली अवेलेबल होते हैं. बाकी कई बार एमएनसीज में मे बी इनिशियली जो स्क्रीनिंग में स्टाफ होता है वो दूसरा होता है, बट दे कैन शेयर दिस इंफॉर्मेशन विद यू. तो व्हाट शुड बी द अप्रोच इन दैट केस?
There are two approach. Normally, whenever there is a product B2C में, in those cases already customer care and contact number लिखा हुआ होता है. But if it's a B2B product, आप वहाँ के फाइनेंस किसी स्पोक को मेल करो, प्रेफरेबली फाइनेंस हेड को. फाइनेंस हेड को कोई ऐसा सप्लायर मिलता है ना कि मैं एक सस्ते दाम में दूंगा, वो सबसे पहले परचेजर या उनको देगा कि यहाँ से खरीदो. टेस्ट करो, एक बार ट्राई करो. परचेजर वहाँ पे जो प्रोक्योरमेंट टीम है, किसी टीम मेंबर, उनको मेल करो. रिसेप्शन पे वहाँ भी आते हो ऑफिस में, तो परचेज हेड या परचेज मैनेजर या फाइनेंस मैनेजर से मिलने की कोशिश करो. राइट, डायरेक्टर एमडी से मिल लिया ठीक है, बहुत अच्छी बात है. 20% केसेस में यू विल बी एबल टू मीट देम ऑल्सो, बट नॉट इन ऑल केसेस. बट ट्राई टू मीट एज अ फाइनेंस और परचेज स्पोक इफ यू वांट टू सेल एनीथिंग. और इफ इट्स अ B2C और उसका आप कुछ करना चाह रहे हो, तो आप कस्टमर केयर के थ्रू कर सकते हो. हर एक प्रोडक्ट के बॉक्स में आपने देखा होगा पीछे कस्टमर केयर की ईमेल आईडी या नंबर रहती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन आवर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और एनी काइंड ऑफ बिग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, कस्टमर केयर के पास अगर एक कॉल जाती है या एक मेल जाती है, वो रिकॉर्ड होती है और उसका उनको सॉल्व करना पड़ता है कि उन्होंने किसको डायरेक्ट किया, उन्होंने क्लोज़ किया कि नहीं किया, और अगर नहीं किया तो क्या एक्शन है. तो वो सबका KRA भी होता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. दे नीड टू आंसर एनी ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, या तो लिख के दे देंगे कि करेंटली वी आर नॉट इन नीड सो विल नॉट, डोंट कनेक्ट. और आप परचेज या फाइनेंस में वेट. Any other question? There's someone on call also who was asking question. Then I'll come to you. Yes. Someone online who was asking question. I think someone raised their voice also at that time. No one? Maybe you can start.
If it is a B2B company with abroad if the product is having a sale only abroad,
Okay.
so how to go about that, especially in context of export and other.
So, in the context of export, again, have you ever procured any kind of report for exports? So, there are various agencies available, like Volza, VOLZA. This agency gives you, for example, if you want to export anything to UK, this particular Volza agency, through a subscription, gives you what kind of products are being imported in UK, क्या प्राइस पे, कौन सा सप्लायर, कौन सा मटेरियल, किस मंथ में, क्या रेट पे, क्या कस्टम ड्यूटी लगी है, सब मिलेगा वो इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको उसमें. Another agency is Dollar Business. These are paid models, but depending upon कि आपको कितना डेटा चाहिए उतना आप पे कर दो. It's not that you need to take full throttle, but अब maybe less than lakh में भी आपको अच्छा डेटा मिल जाएगा उस कंट्री का. But all kind of information, क्या रेट पे मटेरियल क्या है, कौन से मंथ में हो रहा है, all sort of information. Because every country needs to record their custom, import, export, and all records. And these agencies have all the information. It's a legitimate and legal information. कोई illegal नहीं है. ये public information है, but through paid. Because आप pay करोगे तो आपको एक structured data मिलेगा. Otherwise, you will not be able to extract anything out of it. Any other question?
Any other way to get just an idea about the product? Means what is the overall turnover? What is the requirement? How the things are moving? Not specific ones, but only the overall.
For any product or any company, what are
Any
your
product which is actually being sold outside the country, maybe abroad, but to get an idea overview without paying.
No, without paying, you will not get an idea because foreign companies are more regulated. They will not give any kind of information for those products turnover. In India, you can still get information because private companies are also required to publish their financials and annual report every year. Majority of the foreign companies or outside countries, specifically developed countries, are more guarded. Only listed companies are required to share, otherwise you get limited information of those products. Yeah, you can get certain information through Google, but that will not be authentic. I would say it will be 40-50%. वो तो आजकल I think through AI you can get any information, but that is, I would say, it will be a dated information or will not be that reliable. Any other query? Any other question from anyone? Okay, let's move on to next now.
Can I just ask a question which is not directly related to the discussion on?
Yes.
Is it? Yeah. In case of a startup which has not, very important or, something which is will be very highly demanded output, but the idea of that very startup is to solve a very major problem, societal problem. Will it find a kind of acceptability? I'm just giving a practical example. Converting waste into energy, for which we have developed a technology. As such, it is very good, but its outputs are not very, uh, under demand, because already there is a gas, there is already charcoal is available, gas is available, liquid petrol is available. What we are going to produce is a very minuscule part of gas or let's say ethanol or something of that sort, or charcoal as an output by converting the waste. But the very problem, the major problem of environment is the root or the basis on which we have developed this technology. Can it, find a place in our ecosystem, business ecosystem? Can it be a viable proposition?
So right question, Sadbir, and there are many manufacturing companies who are having the problem of uh, utilizing their waste or scrap. Normally, what they do, they find a trader to whom they sell their scrap. But
Yes.
what I understand from you, that you want to convert their waste into something which is output oriented, and the only source would be the power, right? I
Correct.
hope that's what your question is, right? Any
Yeah.
waste that is being generated by these companies, how can this be converted to a power? And if that can be a financial model, right?
Not only just company waste or company discard, but even household waste, slaughter waste, or agri waste, every type of waste
Mhm.
that we have developed technology on, and
Okay.
we are thankfully we are successful on that part, but there is no headway.
The issue here is, in case of India, people still think that the electricity doesn't have a much, I would say, cost. If you refer to the household or etc., the kind of waste that they are generating, as compared to developed countries, first problem is we don't segregate our waste. So I think
Correct.
from a long term perspective, this will, I think, take at least a decade for us to be that civilized in terms of segregating our waste to two or three categories, which means uh, the raw material need of this particular industry will always be, I would say, deficient, because you don't have those kind of availability in the market and people are not segregating their waste. Second, in terms of manufacturing industry, the issue here is people are currently moving from normal electricity to solar. For them, 8 rupees of electricity cost going down to 4 or 5 rupees is saving, और वो उनको इजीली एक छोटा सा केपेक्स या लीज मॉडल लगा के मिल जाता है.
Yeah.
Once that is done, and if your model says कि 4-5 rupees से ये 3 rupees भी आ जाएगा, then people may
Mhm.
invest into this particular model.
Okay. Just on the cost of reputation for the group, because I have discussed this during the last session as well. So, my co-participants will bear me out. My or our technology is something which needs no segregation at any stage.
Okay.
That is the rather, you can say, USP of this technology or the beauty of this technology. Second, our output is not in the form of electricity or something. Energy in this, I don't mean by electricity. It is just a fuel, one kind of the fuel, either in the form of gas or liquid or solid.
Mhm.
And that output has been tested by credible one of the university, rather if I can name, it is Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai University. So that part is also almost complete, except for gas. We have got tested our output of liquid output and solid output. That's the premise of my question.
Yeah, so
Whether
understood. So tell me, the technology that you have, is it converting
as of
household
now I can
waste?
say it's a
Uh,
pyrolysis.
yeah, so is it converting the
It is.
household waste into a fuel which
Yeah.
household can use? Household
Pardon,
residents
sir?
can themselves use in their house, right?
Yes.
For that, they need to have the waste generation accumulation also, right? Daily waste
Uh,
is.
so that I think at one can understand that it takes place automatically. Our societies take out the waste,
Right.
and somebody collects it somewhere. It is dumped. In larger cities, there's a lot of dump yards. In smaller cities, again there are one or the other places the waste, general our household waste gets dumped. So that's is my main problem is that I'm not find a taker in the form of government help or an industrial house who can just put in not only just money but other resources as well.
Satwit ji, may I help you?
Gee, please.
Just give me 2 minutes, Sadaf sir. Satbiji, generally what we do, we have technical solutions, but these solutions are not commercially viable. Because when we
Okay.
want to convert something into energy, then the scale requirement is too much. For example,
Yes.
you have to install a complete power plant. Likewise, that
Yes.
happens of coal. So this
Ji.
complete setup is required in terms of your waste segregation, then waste post, not segregation, waste collection, then feeding
Ji.
into pyrolysis reactor, then
Yes.
converting those materials into either syngas or LD oil. But
Ji.
in case of your organic waste, there is as such no that much LD oil generates. So what
Yes.
I have observed that in terms of waste to energy plants, these
Ji.
plants definitely operate at a larger scale. Likewise, there are examples by JBM Enviro Group in Sonipat, which is near to NCR. So their
Okay.
plants generates even around 8 megawatt of electricity per day.
Okay.
So that size waste to energy plants are already there, which are
Ji.
conventional based on like similar like to coal burning. These burns your RDF, refuse dry fuels.
Okay.
So I appreciate your technological solutions, but the gaps are at the commercial side, which sir is already covering. That
Yes.
the commercial ability requires your feedback from different customers. That's all from my side.
Of course.
We can
Okay.
later also.
So Satbirji, I think thank you, Dr. Praveen. Satbirji, I think we can discuss separately in detail this particular topic, and I
Ji.
think I
Sure.
will tell Dr. Sadaf also to share my contact in case required, so that we
Sure,
can
sir.
discuss in detail separately on this.
That's kind of it. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll come to the next topic now, which is in relation to the profitability. If the screen is visible, I'll share. I hope everyone is aware about CM1, CM2 and CM3. इतना पता होगा शार्क टैंक जिन्होंने देखा है? नहीं?
No, but we can read contribution margin
No,
one,
sir.
contribution margin two.
हाँ जी, contribution margin 1, 2 and 3. So first is revenue. What is revenue? Revenue is sales. And if you know, sales also has a GST component and an MRP component. आपकी profitability में क्या आएगा? At the price at which you have sold to your distributor or customer without GST is what will come in your profit and loss statement. Any kind of discount or scheme that you have given will be reduced from that particular price and will come as a revenue in your profitability. Second is direct variable cost. Any cost that is being incurred to manufacture that particular product. So if you subtract this cost from your sales, comes contribution margin 1. Why is it important? This shows whether इस लेवल पे तो आप लॉस नहीं कर रहे हो, बनाया और उसको बेचा, एटलीस्ट वहाँ तो प्रॉफिट होना चाहिए. Otherwise, there is no point in making and selling a product. Then will be various variable selling and distribution cost. Any kind of distribution cost, any kind of, I would say, selling cost, transportation, etc. जब उसके कॉस्ट को लेस करोगे, then it comes as contribution margin 2. Then if you reduce any kind of marketing, media, those kind of cost, which is kind of a fixed cost or variable depending upon the kind of investment that you are doing, contribution margin 3 आता है. Then comes any kind of indirect fixed cost like admin, finance, HR, IT, compliance. If you reduce that cost, then comes operating profit. और EBITDA भी बोलेंगे. आपको सपोज डेप्रिसिएशन भी होगा जो नीचे आएगा, then it is also called as EBITDA, right? इसके नीचे जो है ये. Then any kind of interest cost which is called as finance cost. और इसके बाद अगर सपोज आपके पास कोई एसेट्स है तो डेप्रिसिएशन. देन एनी काइंड ऑफ अदर इनकम, आपने कुछ पैसा आपने एफडी में लगाया हुआ है, उसका इंटरेस्ट इनकम, वो करने के बाद कम्स एट प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स. एनी काइंड ऑफ प्रॉफिट दैट यू हैव, उस पर हमें टैक्स देना है. Then comes profit after tax. और इसका भी हमें सिनेरियो बनाना है जो आपको मैं ये आई एम द शेयरिंग एन एक्सेल wherein you can always create 2-3 scenarios: base case, optimistic case, and pessimistic case. I hope everyone is aware about these 3 scenarios. Every business model has to have 3 scenarios at the start. Base case क्या है, इतना तो minimum है. Worst case, pessimistic, then optimistic is like a best case. Optimistic can also be called as a best case. So you can create your plan, and in this particular table then you can evaluate various scenarios. Optimistic hai, if you want to see the base case scenario, the number changes here. If you want to see the pessimistic scenario, the number changes here, and then you can go down and you can see the profit and loss statement, and उससे आपको up and down graph पता लग जाती है, प्लस यहाँ percentages कि आपने CM1 कितना अर्न किया, CM2, CM3, EBITDA, PAT. For any kind of startup or business venture, this profitability statement is very important. Normally हम अपना बैंक बैलेंस देख लेते हैं कि हाँ ओपनिंग में इतना था, क्लोजिंग में इतना था, हमने कितना अर्न किया, बट दैट इज़ ओनली अ वेरी क्रूड वे ऑफ रिव्यूइंग. थ्रू दिस यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कहाँ पे हमें कॉस्ट कट भी करनी है, कॉस्ट ऑप्टिमाइज भी करनी है. There will be further breakup of this direct variable cost, which will be BOM, BOL, and BOE. BOM is what? Bill of material cost. BOL is labor cost. BOE is bill of energy cost. So direct variable cost has 3 components, and basis that you are able to manufacture your product. It's important to review this so that you are able to optimize every month and or plan for next month. Any questions in relation to profitability? Who all are making their profitability statement or getting a support to make the profitability statement every quarter, every month? कोई बना रहा है अपने बिजनेस का? आप बना रहे हैं? So everything is entered into the software and you get the report every month. Does that match with your bank statement? Sometimes. That's also important. Whatever you make, ultimately, what is there in your bank is final, right? So if there is any difference, why is there a difference? There can be some provisions, accruals, etc. That is okay. But you need to also reconcile with whatever is coming in your profitability and in your bank, so that you are able to reconcile. There is no leakage, everything is okay. देख कुछ मिस हो सकता है ना आपके सॉफ्टवेयर में भी, या बैंक में किसी का पैसा नहीं आया, रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं हुई है, आपने क्रेडिट में पे किया हुआ है पैसे, तो एटलीस्ट हैव दैट रिकन्सिलिएशन कि हाँ प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी इज शोइंग 100, बैंक इज शोइंग 80, 20 is because some customer has not paid the money and hence there is a difference. It's important to record that also in the profitability statement, at least वो पैसे भी आपके ही हैं. अच्छा, कैश की हमें बात करते हैं. इनिशियली वी थिंक ऑफ कि कैश में काम कर लेते हैं, राइट? हाँ, कोई कौन कैश में मज़ा आता है ना करने में, कैश में हो गया वहाँ पे, राइट? अंडरस्टैंड. ₹1 EBITDA अगर आप कमाते हो तो आपको वैल्यूएशन कितनी मिलती है? ₹1 अगर आपने प्रॉफिट किया, EBITDA हमने बात करी थी. अगर ₹1 EBITDA आता है, कंपनी की वैल्यू कितनी हो जाती है? ₹1 से ₹30. 20 से 30, 40 भी होती है, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द इंडस्ट्री दैट यू आर इन. मल्टीप्लायर मिलता है. जो आप पे फंड इन्वेस्ट करता है, दे गो थ्रू अ मल्टीप्लायर ऑफ योर आइदर रेवेन्यू और योर EBITDA. कोई पैसा लगाता है, कैसे लगाता है? ऐसे नहीं लगाता, वो रेवेन्यू या EBITDA का मल्टीपल देखता है. ठीक है, अगेन वैल्यूएशन एक और टॉपिक है, वो भी कर सकते हैं, बट अभी आपको मैं 5 मिनट में समझाता हूँ वैल्यूएशन क्या है. इंटरेस्टेड हैं लोग वैल्यूएशन समझने के लिए अभी? राइट. यू हैव अ फर्स्ट थिंग, वैल्यूएशन के लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है? रजिस्टर योर कंपनी. वेरी गुड. It's important to have a company or a firm or a partnership, etc., so that there is a trail and track of your finances. Second important क्या है? The profitability matches with your bank. क्योंकि any investor who will invest in your company वो देखेगा कि profitability तो दिखाया इतना बट बैंक में तो इतना बाकी कैश में घर ही ले गए तो फिर क्यों दिखा रहे हो ये profitability? क्योंकि वो बैंक भी उस कंपनी का ही होगा ना, not your individual bank account. Third is any investor invests in a company only if there is a potential in the market or for that particular product category or there is some I would say moat which he is interested into. अब कितना पैसा लगाएगा वो? एक तो है कि आज आपके करंट प्रॉफिट पे करंट रेवेन्यू पे उसको भी तो कुछ कैलकुलेशन करनी है. आज उसने 100 लगाया 3 साल 4 साल बाद उसको 100 का कितना मिलेगा? तो एक इन्वेस्टर नॉर्मली क्या देखता है कि अगर मैंने 100 लगाया आज मुझे 3 to 5 ईयर्स में एटलीस्ट उसका 3x मिनिमम मिलना चाहिए. 3x 100 लगाया उसको 300 मिलना चाहिए. करेक्ट. और 100 का अगर हम 3x बोल रहे हैं तो वो मिनिमम है उसका. इट कैन बी 4 और 5x ऑल्सो बट मिनिमम उसको 3x मिलना है. अब वो 100 कैसे लगाएगा? आपका एक रेवेन्यू एग्जिस्टिंग है और एक आपका प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी है. देन देयर विल बी अ पोटेंशियल रेवेन्यू एंड प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी इन द फ्यूचर. So they normally follow two methods. Venture capitalist or any kind of investor who invests in a mid-size or a small-size company will see a revenue multiplier or an EBITDA multiplier as the valuation of a company. If it is a kind of a manufacturing or a consumer healthcare company, they multiply the revenue with either 4 or 5 or 6 depending upon the kind of industry that you are into. So if your revenue is 100, they will value your company between 300 to 600 depending upon the kind of industry. I'm just giving an average range. It can be lower and higher depending upon there are various kinds of industry. Similarly, in case of EBITDA, they will multiply by around 25 or 30, in some cases 20 also. And that's how they create or make or derive the value of your company. और उस कंपनी की वैल्यू फॉर एग्जांपल 100 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 5 इट इज़ 500 and you are the only shareholder or two members are the shareholder in that company and if he wants to take 20% of 300 or 5 so 500 मान लेते हैं तो how much money will he have to invest? 20% multiplied by 500 100 rupees. 100 rupees they will invest in your company. How? This 20% who is giving? The shareholder of the company. If you are the shareholder, then this 20% equivalent to 100 goes to your individual bank account. Why? Because they have taken your share. तो आपको 100 का कितना मिला? 500 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 20 मतलब 100. 20% का आपको 5 गुना मिल गया पैसे. अब वो कंपनी में कैसे लगाएगा? आगे उसको ग्रो करना है. They will invest certain amount in your company also so that they can invest either in acquisition, manufacturing, whatever your need is. कि I need maybe 20 lakh rupees to buy machineries or to buy land or to invest in marketing. That investment will also lead to certain shareholding percentage which 20 will then become 24, 25 of your company. तो एक पैसा आपके अकाउंट में गया पर्सनल क्योंकि आपने अपनी कंपनी का एक शेयर दिया उसको. इंक्रीमेंटल ही हैज़ इन्वेस्टेड इन योर कंपनी फॉर फ्यूचर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स with an additional incremental stake so that he is able to grow your business. Clear? Now I was coming to one EBITDA now gives you what 25 to 30 rupees of valuation और आपने कैश में किया that doesn't get accounted in your financials. So आपको 1 का 30 नहीं मिला, 1 का 1 ही रहा आपके पास. So which one is better, cash or check? And that's what I think major entrepreneurs at the start fail to understand. उनको लगता है कैश आ गया, आज मुझे 1 crore मिल गया, I am very rich and happy. But if you want to scale your business, if that 1 crore would have been part of your company or your financials or your bank account, 1 crore multiplied by 30 or 25, if you want to raise funds, you would have got 25 crores. Yes.
Like most of us are basically startups and we haven't really started earning right now. So there is no question of it, any sort of multiplier that comes into play. So how can we put in the numbers as a potential play? What is our potential as a startup? How should we go about that, convincing investors to invest in our company rather than just showing numbers? What should we actually do? Or if we want to show numbers, how do we show that? Because we don't have any revenue or profits or anything to show. It's just us as founders and it's all about us. So how do we go about it?
Right. So, who are closely monitoring the new startups in the country over the last 4-5 years? Is everyone aware of the new startups that has been growing in the country? Paytm, Zomato, etc. Were they in profits? No. So there is no question of multiplier of EBITDA, right? Their revenue was humongous. So there is no question of giving 5 multiple of revenue, right? How do an investor invest in these companies or any kind of a company which doesn't have any revenue? So first thing is, we don't have any revenue, there's only a 30% chance that any investor will invest in your company. Why 30%? Those 30% investor will invest in your idea. Whether there is a potential in the future and there is any other company, like-minded or likewise company in the country who are also doing similar business and growing at that pace. Which means if you have the setup ready, it's only the matter of time that you can gain revenue. Then those comparable companies are taken into account, and basis your scale and potential for next 2 or 3 years, they will give you certain valuation now and a discounted valuation. अगर 3 साल बाद वो 300 आपका टर्नओवर होने वाला है, so 300 multiplied by 5 is 1500, right? And what did I say? How much investor does want to earn? At least 3x. So 500 से ऊपर में they will not value you if the next 3-4 years revenue potential is how much? Understood? कैसे वो वैल्यू करेंगे आपकी कंपनी को? Clear है? Any further leading question to this?
I got first.
Yes.
So, like our startup is this space, and so we have been experiencing different kind of investors, like from Indian-centric investor and also from the global investor. So we have seen that there is a different mindset when we talk with US investors. So basically, they focus on impact-based startup, right? Like how much would be the scale of impact. So based on that, they create a valuation. But in India, it's so different. Like they need a number, and it's about how either you will go profitable, either you will go not. So I feel that it is so vague, or like the definition are so blurred. Like because on different stage of startup, like either it's pre-seed, seed, Series A, B, C, and valuation work in a very different way. Like where exactly your startup is, what kind of startup it is, and like how, like what are the founders they are. Like so I can give you an example with the Anthropic, right? So when they have started operating, right, the team is coming from OpenAI and like Google, Microsoft, right? So the valuation was so different. Like it started with the like already a millions of dollars, right? But it was already the 100 million plus valuation in their beginning. So, like, can you help us to understand that with each growth phase, like what exactly a pre-seed in India at the moment, and how the valuation is the current industry standards, like based on the
So
recent trends.
valid point. That's why I also mentioned about ESG, environmental, social and governance. If you see India, only top 100 companies are mandatorily required to comply with ESG norms, which means they need to release a report of sustainability every year, mandatorily. Only 100 companies in the country. However, if you go to developed countries, all the companies with a major medium scale and size are required to share their sustainability report. We are still in that developing phase of creating an impact. Hence, it will take another 4 to 5 years, because by 2027, they are planning to cover another set of 300 to 400 companies. What does that mean? That every company needs to invest in environment, social, and governance mandatorily. So, as of now, profitability is the only motive of any company in the country in India. But a developed country has gone a far notch higher, wherein profitability with a purpose for each and every company is also the objective. And hence, that's the difference between the investors there and investors here. For example, if a foreign investor will invest in your company, apart from profit, another thing they will audit is your environment sustainability, social and governance sustainability. उसमें अगर आपके अच्छे नंबर्स नहीं हैं तो वो EBITDA मल्टीप्लाई बाय 30 -5, because you are not compliant. You are not following the laws of the Mother Earth, or you are not following best practices for your labor or workers. आप उनसे 24 घंटे काम कराते हो, नहीं चलेगा ऐसे. That's the difference. Similarly, in India, the investors who are purely Indian investors, they know the market is growing at a 15-20% every year. In US or developed countries, the market is growing at what? 1 to 5% every year. Right? So in India, the profit and the earnings are humongous, and hence the mentality is such that we need to earn more, 3x, 4x in 3 or 4 years, whatever we have invested, because we'll be growing like this. And maybe till maybe 20, 30 years, we'll be growing like this only. And hence that mentality will slowly subside, but it will not go off in the next 1 or 2 years. And India is a growing country also, and rightly so, we need to have good earnings. आज हमें FD हम लगाते हैं तो कितना अर्निंग आती है? 6 to 7%. एक नॉर्मल प्राइवेट गुड बैंक में आप बिजनेस में लगाओगे तो कितना आ जाएगा? 15% नॉर्मली एन इन्वेस्टर इन वॉन्ट्स, मिनिमम 15%. तो इतनी मुझे रिटर्न मिल जाए. एंड हेंस देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ डेवलप्ड कंट्री ग्रोथ एंड आवर. वहाँ पे स्टार्टअप्स आज नहीं हैं, आज 20-30 साल पहले से हैं वहाँ पे. इन आवर केस इट्स लास्ट 7-8-9 ईयर्स की जर्नी है जो स्टार्टअप इतने इम्प्रूव एंड इतने ग्रो हुए. एंड दैट्स द रीज़न इट्स स्टिल इन द ग्रोइंग स्टेज इन द कंट्री. However, there are many impact-based startups who are also coming. The valuation also increases. जब आपको मैंने EBITDA multiply by 20-30 क्यों बोला? आप सिर्फ प्रॉफिट कमा रहे हो तो आपको शायद 20 मिलेगा. बट इफ़ यू आर फॉलोइंग द गवर्नेंस कंप्लायंस, बोर्ड है आपके पास, बोर्ड मेंबर्स हैं, डायरेक्टर्स हैं, आपने कंपनी सही बना के रखी हुई है, सब रिटर्न फाइलिंग प्रॉपर कर रहे हैं, तो 20 विल बिकम 23-24 मल्टीपल. फिर आपने एनवायरनमेंट के लिए भी काम कर लिया, अपने वर्कर्स को भी आप ओवर टाइम देते हो, डबल शिफ्ट नहीं करा के नहीं करते हो, वो सब अगर आप कंप्लाई करते हो, देन यू गेट अनदर 3-4 पॉइंट्स हायर. आई वॉज नॉट गेटिंग इन टू दैट बिकॉज देन इट विल बी मोर इंट्रिकेट. जैसे मैंने बोला 5 मिनट में, बट और भी 20 से 30 का रीज़न ये है. 20 आपको मिलेगा ऐसे, आपको 30 मिलेगा अगर आप वो इम्पैक्ट और सब कुछ काम करते हो तो. यस.
Tynor comes under DST.
Yes. Yes.
So they invest in the, because I met Dr. PDC last year, and he was like, we have planned to invest in the impact-based startups. So like currently,
So that's what Dr. Sadaf mentioned at the start, that we have formed a new company called Techmatters. So I'm the director there in this particular company along with the CFO at Tynor, and we are investing in various startups, including impact-based startups also. And anyone who has a purpose with the markets, हम भी normal वही करेंगे जो आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ ना. We will review like this only. For example, some of them have already pitched in our company. wherein we have already sent an email कि आप अपना document दो, we will review and will come back to you. And but the funda will remain same. Whether you find the moat, आप टाइम कैप्चर कर रहे हो, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी आ रही है कि नहीं आ रही है, आगे आपने टीम ग्रो करनी है कि नहीं करनी है. अभी हम क्या देखते हैं कि आप में वो एटीट्यूड, कैरेक्टर, जील, एनर्जी एंड एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड है कि नहीं. प्लस जो आपने प्रोडक्ट सर्च या शॉर्टलिस्ट किया है, वेदर इट इज़ अ राइट मार्केट फिट और नॉट. So we have our internal scoring criteria basis we score all of these parameters and then accordingly plan and take. और हमने एक स्टेप और भी किया है कि कोई अगर दूसरा स्टार्टअप है, for the first 6 to 8 months they will work in that company Techmatters, so that they can take 3 or 4 successful projects there, implement those projects in big companies like Tynor, any university, government bodies, etc., government institutions. Once they have spent 6 months and created a successful model of 3 or 4, I would say, projects, then in their startup, this Techmatters will invest so that we are able to do continuous support to them. And we want each and every startup who becomes part of Techmatters to succeed. इसलिए वो 6 months हमने लिया है कि हम आपको 2-3 सक्सेसफुल मॉडल इम्प्लीमेंट कराएं, वो लर्निंग ला के दें, सो दैट देन यू वर्क ऑन योर स्टार्टअप कंपनी. नहीं कि हम डे 1 पे आपके स्टार्टअप में इन्वेस्ट कर लें, नहीं. फिर आप फेल करोगे, हम भी फेल करेंगे, बट वी वांट 100% स्टार्टअप्स टू सक्सीड. और 6 महीने में आप नहीं कर पाए तो और 6 महीने लगाएंगे हम आपके साथ, सो दैट वी आर एबल टू ग्रूम यू फॉर द राइट मार्केट फिट. यस.
So what standard valuation you offer at each stage? Like if somebody is coming at the pre-seed level or somebody is coming at the seed level. So what industry standard you follow, like in terms of giving a valuation?
So normally the money or the investment that they need, we give them upfront in our company, and basis 6 months of results, then we decide कि इसमें potential है कि नहीं है, and accordingly we normally take 20% to 30% stake in that company, and depending upon the potential we do a multiplier. और जो आपने स्टार्टिंग में पैसे लिए हमसे, मे बी उसी को फिर हम कन्वर्ट कर देते कि आप उसको इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट कर दो. एनी क्वेश्चंस? इज इट इंटरेस्टिंग, बोरिंग? किसको बोर लग रहा है अभी ये? Anyone who is finding it to be slightly boring, they want some more fun?
सर बोरिंग तो नहीं है.
बोरिंग नहीं है, इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है.
यस सर. सर ये जो 6 मंथ बोल रहे हैं, ये आपकी कंपनी का प्रोजेक्ट होंगे या जो स्टार्टअप आ रहा है वो लेके आएगा अपना प्रोजेक्ट?
सॉरी,
आपके साथ काम करता है?
आपकी वॉइस क्लियर नहीं आई, क्या बोल रहे हैं आप?
Yeah, because network issue. So now audible?
You are audible, but there is some noise at the background.
Yeah. I want to ask जो 6 मंथ आपकी कंपनी में आप कह रहे हैं कि ये आप अपने साथ रखेंगे, तो वो आपके आइडियाज होंगे, आपके प्रोजेक्ट में काम करेगा या स्टार्टअप जो लेके आ रहा है अपना आइडिया उसी को लेकर आपके कैसे?
जो आइडिया वो लेके आ रहा है उसी को वो इम्प्लीमेंट करेगा.
ओके.
We will not give idea, we will give platform for him to implement those ideas, or
Okay.
companies wherein they can implement those ideas.
Okay. Thank you.
For example, in our company, if we need to implement industry 4.0, and if you have an idea, we'll give that platform ki implement karo, aap yahan pe successful banao. Whatever cost that would be required to invest, we'll invest. And we have given those money to sub 10 companies also who are already associated with us in the last 1 year. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
I feel that is the incubation, right?
It's like an incubation, but in incubation what happens, you do work on your own only. Here you will get all kind of support, financial support, I'll support you, marketing support, there's a marketing individual, plus you will get assignments from these companies, real projects. It's not like a dummy project, these will be real projects. You will have to be in those companies, implement those projects there, give the outcome there, and create your process, SOP and model which you can replicate to all. आप इन्फोसिस में भी जाके बोलोगे मैंने टाइनॉर में इम्प्लीमेंट किया है, आई वांट टू इम्प्लीमेंट इन योर कंपनी, और मैं मारुति में भी किया, मैंने यहाँ पे एक कैमरा सेंसिंग कुछ ये लगाया है जो आपके यहाँ पे भी हम लगा सकते हैं। तो आपके पास एक कॉन्फिडेंस होगा कि मैंने ये काम कर दिया, आपके यहाँ पे भी इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं हम ये, और वहाँ पे चल रहा है, आप उनसे फीडबैक ले लो या जाके देख लो आप वहाँ पे, राइट। And that's the reason that this model will help those companies to succeed and not to fail. सिर्फ स्टार्टअप में हमें इन्वेस्ट कर दिया और पैसे दे दिए तो फिर 50% सक्सीड होंगे, 50% फेल होंगे, और मे बी परसेंटेज कैन बी डिफरेंट आफ्टर 6 months, not at that time. Any other question, or shall I move on to next point? These are all related, and hence I thought I should share this, and then I come to the ratios. ROI is nothing but a ratio. But आपने अगर profitability समझ लिया, investment समझ लिया, ROI is a formula only. Who are passionate about their work or the business? All of you or some of you? All of you.
Sir, all of, because all are here, that's why all are.
Right.
Otherwise, they are not here.
Correct. The reason of asking this question is, one thing is passion. Another thing is the right kind of, I would say, output which is practical. In our organization or in any organization, there are people who are really passionate, and there are people who knows how to get the work done. Normally when we are passionate, we want to do everything on our own. So इसलिए मैंने पूछा कि सब पैशनेट तो हैं बट सब खुद से हम करना चाहते हैं, बट इट्स ओनली लिमिटेड थिंग दैट वी कैन डू. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ देर आर 50 member here, can they support each other? Are they supporting each other? Everyone would have their skill set, support each other. But it's important, there are 4 or 5, I would say, areas wherein you need support. अगर आप ऑपरेशन में स्ट्रांग हो तो आप फाइनेंस में स्ट्रांग नहीं होगे, HR में स्ट्रांग नहीं होगे आप. बट इफ़ यू डू एवरीथिंग ऑन योर ओन, क्या होगा? आपका रेवेन्यू ग्रो नहीं करेगा ना. आप अगर 100 को अगले साल 200 बना सकते थे खुद से रेवेन्यू को, आप बाकी सब चीज़ों में भी रहोगे तो आप 100 का 150 160 बना पाओगे, बिकॉज यू हैव व्हाट 24 आवर्स ओनली. And those kind of supports are already available in the market. Find the support that you really need and take those support. आपको पिच डेक बनाना है, आप खुद तो बनाओगे, बट टेक इनपुट्स ऑल्सो. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पिच? अपना पिच, अच्छा, अपना पिच डेक किन किन लोगों ने बनाया हुआ है? अच्छा पिच डेक आपको लग रहा है कि मेरा बेस्ट इन क्लास पिच डेक है? हाँ, परफेक्ट पिच डेक किसको लगता है कि माई पिच डेक इज परफेक्ट, इट कवर्स एवरीथिंग व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड बाय एन इन्वेस्टर? और वो क्यों? क्योंकि इन्वेस्टर को क्या चाहिए आपको पता लग गया है, तो आपको पिच डेक भी वैसे ही बनानी चाहिए. पिच डेक में आपको कवर क्या क्या करना चाहिए, आपके स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, आपने अभी तक क्या काम किया है, आपकी ट्रेजेक्ट्री क्या रही है, आप आगे क्या करने वाले हो, एंड एवरीथिंग दैट लीड्स टू शॉर्ट टर्म, मिड टर्म, लॉन्ग टर्म बिजनेस प्लान. एंड प्लस, व्हाई आर यू पिचिंग शुड बी द लास्ट स्लाइड. I think you also have a session sometime. I think next session is about pitch deck. I don't know who would be presenting that, but I think that would be covered there. It's important that you understand to make a pitch deck which is very strong, because pitch deck normally हम बनाते हैं, it's very rudimentary and standard. उससे investors excite नहीं होते. पिच डेक का एक और एलिमेंट होता है कि जो आपने फाइनेंशियल्स दिखाए, सो फाइनेंशियल्स दैट यू हैव प्रेजेंटेड, there would be an element of what kind of returns and the payback that you're getting. right? If you have bought a TV in your house, what is the return that you are getting? What is the return on investment? कौन सा एडवर्टाइजमेंट? अच्छा, एंटरटेनमेंट, हाँ, राइट. That is a return on investment. Perfectly said. So any kind of investment has to have a return and it has to be measurable. Entertainment को measure कैसे करोगे? Screen time, number of hours is a time spent. But ये entertainment की बात कर रहे हैं.
Quality of entertainment you can quantify your number.
There must be some bare minimum that why I actually need that television. तो अगर वो पूरा हुआ तो my ROI is complete.
Correct. कितना टाइम में हुआ?
Maybe 1 day अगर हो गया.
Correct.
Or
Right.
can be lifetime.
Right.
There's no
Which is more attractive, 1 day or one lifetime? 1 day.
lifetime. चलता रहेगा. पूरा हो गया then I'll be
No.
hungry for more.
1 day में अगर आपका रिटर्न आ गया, बाकी तो फिर आपको एक्स्ट्रा मिल रहा है ना.
Maybe I.
दैट इज एन इंक्रीमेंटल रिटर्न. जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है उसका एक ब्रेक इवन एक होना है. 100 लगाया, 100 मिलना चाहिए ना पहले तो. बाकी जो एक्स्ट्रा मिला दैट इज एक्स्ट्रा. सो पे बैक, रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट, दीज आर ऑल आई वुड से फंडाज ऑफ वर्ल्ड हु वांट्स टू यूज सम टर्मिनोलॉजी विच इज़ वेरी आई वुड से डिफरेंट. हमने बुक में पढ़ा है तो उसको हमें इम्प्लीमेंट करना है, बट इज़ नथिंग which is very complex. The formula is slightly complex, but the way of calculation is not complex. So there are 2-3 elements there. One is payback. What is payback? हम बोलते हैं it's payback time. इसका मतलब क्या है? कभी किसी को रिवेंज के लिए बोलते हैं ना it's payback time.
ओरिजिनल इन्वेस्टमेंट कितने समय में वापस आएगी?
कितने समय में आएगी? करेक्ट. सो पेबैक इज लाइक अगर आपको किसी ने 1 दिया तो आपने भी उसको 1 दिया तो बराबर हो गया. अब समझ में आएगा पेबैक कभी कोई पूछेगा तो. क्लियर है? इन नंबर टर्म्स क्या हुआ? इफ यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग 100 रुपीज, द रिटर्न दैट यू आर गेटिंग इन हाउ मेनी ईयर्स, हाउ मेनी मंथ्स?
इसमें हम ये भी कैलकुलेट करेंगे कि अगर आप मेरे को नहीं देते तो उसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट वगैरह वो वैल्यू क्या होती है.
And different payback calculation will have different elements. For example, if you have invested 100 rupees in a machine, आप उसका payback कैसे निकालोगे?
उस मशीन से, प्रोडक्शन से जो प्रॉफिट होगा वो से.
और सिर्फ प्रॉफिट से पेबैक नहीं निकलेगा,
पहले मशीन की आएगी,
राइट?
और उसके बाद से
बट उससे आप क्या, तो दैट इज ओनली वन एलिमेंट. Another element would be along with profit you are also having certain inventory which is lying as a working capital, and every working capital has a cost. If a working capital has a cost, then it gets blocked. एक cost होगा will be an interest cost. Another element would be incremental working capital that would be required. सो 100 लगाया, कितना आपने स्पेंड किया, रिटर्न लेके आया, और कितने नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स में वो 100 रुपये आपको रिटर्न मिल गया. इसमें हम कुछ डिस्काउंटिंग नहीं करते. इट्स नॉर्मली कि 100 लगाया और कितने में आया. एंड देयर आर 2 मेथड्स. वन मेथड वुड बी इफ़ यू हैव इन्वेस्टेड 100 एंड इफ़ यू आर प्रोजेक्टिंग द रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम दैट 100, रिमूव द प्राइस इन्फ्लेशन बिट. उससे क्या होगा कि एटलीस्ट प्राइस इन्फ्लेशन से आपको बेटर ही मिलना है. Don't include those inflation in that particular calculation. Be a slightly conservative calculation master. What kind of payback period should you look into?
3 years.
3 years. What about you?
Depends on like how much runway we want. Like we want runway of 2 years. Right? So basically, that's the milestone we have to achieve. So possible payback, that is what we will be getting in the next milestone. Like if we are in pre-seed, right? So you will be getting his return in the seed round. So we have to tell them that okay, if in that period of time we'll be at the seed round, and possible that is what we are targeting, and that is the whole asset creation, everything will be done. And so that's what I believe. And it's also depend like if either you are raising on the debt based funding, or either you are with the equity way. So that's I feel that that could be the possible method.
So the payback for any kind of investment do you do in the business should be around 2 years. Because in India it's a growing business. आप कुछ नहीं करोगे तो भी आप साल का 15% अपने रिटर्न निकाल सकते हो अपने आइडल फंड से. हाउ? There are many mutual fund brokers sitting in the country who can assure you 15% return of your money. Leave aside 66% तो FD में है. म्यूचुअल फंड में लॉन्ग टर्म में यू कैन ईजिली अर्न 15%. बट आपको तो उससे ज़्यादा अर्न करना है, आप तभी तो बिजनेस कर रहे हो. नहीं तो म्यूचुअल फंड में पैसा लगा दो. आपने पैसा लगाया है, उसका रिटर्न हमें आना चाहिए. एंड वाई 2 years? 2 years में एटलीस्ट आपको क्या है 30 से 40% रिटर्न मिल गया उसका एवरी ईयर, डबल. एंड if you don't have any scope available, then you increase from 24 months to 30 months, then to 30, 2 से 3, 2 से 2.5 जाओ, फिर 3 जाओ. But start with why again 2 years? You'll be able to prioritize out of 10 projects or ideas that you have. You will invest in only those projects which are giving you high returns. So पहले 2 वाले complete करो, फिर 2.5 वाले, फिर 3 वाले. But ideally your project should give you the payback in 2 years. Any question, any doubt which anyone has in relation to payback?
सर व्हाट इज द केस कि कभी आपकी पेमेंट स्टक होती है तो
पेमेंट स्टक होती है.
यस सर, यू हैव गिवन द बिल, यू हैव गिवन द मटेरियल एंड एवरीथिंग. सपोज आपने कुछ एडवांस पेमेंट लिया एंड द रिमेनिंग पेमेंट इज ओवर देयर, तो उस केस में सर क्या कर सकते हैं? इज देयर एनी केस कि हम फोर्स कर सकते हैं कंपनीज को या कुछ कर सकते हैं दैट दे रिलीज द पेमेंट और समथिंग लाइक दिस?
हाँ कर सकते हैं. So any kind of payment that is getting stuck, which the supplier or any kind of customer is not paying, and if you are a MSME, micro, small, medium enterprise, then there are various court which are available in the respective city and state, which can give you that kind of a privilege of faster hearing of recovering that particular money. The central government has introduced this particular priority for MSME. In fact, अगर आप MSME हो and if you are not getting money within 45 days, then सामने वाला company is also mandatorily required to pay you interest on that money.
Okay.
So there are many MSME courts which are available wherein you can file the case and the money will be given back to you in a speedier manner, because every day they hear at least, I would say, 800 to 900 cases per city of this money not getting paid by the customer to the manufacturer.
Okay. And sir, how can you find these codes?
This gets resolved basis your document bill and all the, I would say, GST invoices, including e-invoices and challan. If you submit, it is resolved on a fast track basis. And you will get the interest also if the money is not paid within 45 days.
And how can we find these codes? This one?
So you can Google and you can get MSME quote available, and there are many, I would say, small lawyers also which charge a reasonable fee, and they will file your case. And I think in a matter of, I think, some days, or I would say max month, depending upon which city are you in, the matter gets resolved.
But in this case, we will also lose a customer then, right?
Of course, yes. Your first thing is the money that you he's not giving.
Yeah.
See, now, if that's the case, there are multiple steps. What you do if the money is not recovered? You send reminders, you send escalations. If the accountant is not giving, you send it to manager there, to director there. And if that is not getting any result, then you give a warning letter that either resolve, refund the money or pay the money in 15 days, or then I'll have to file a legal case.
Okay.
Use those resorts because now many of the companies are already aware that if we are not able to pay the money now, we'll have to pay it with interest. And the interest is not 6-7%, it's high. It's around 12 to 18%.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any query in relation to payback? Two years funda is okay. It will help you prioritize, and in the country like India, 2 years will give you the right results. Then comes internal rate of return. What is internal rate of return? The amount that you have invested and the amount that you have earned, right? Including the working capital. What is a percentage at which your net present value becomes zero? Slightly difficult words that I have used, some jargons. Yes.
मतलब थोड़ा सा सिंप्लीफाई
हाँ.
अगर मैं ठीक समझ रहा हूँ, मैंने आपसे इन्वेस्टमेंट ली है, उस टाइम में वो मैन पावर या किसी चीज़ में यूज़ हो रही है, आई एम एबल टू मेक प्रॉफिट्स एट द एंड ऑफ माय रनवे पीरियड। जो आपसे इन्वेस्टमेंट ली थी वो भी मेरे को प्रॉफिट्स वगैरह से कुछ अरेंज करना होगा, तो इस फॉर्म में उसको कैलकुलेट करना है कि मेरी वैल्यू कब जीरो होती है।
वो आपने किया, और आज जो 100 रुपये की वैल्यू है 10 साल बाद 100 रुपये की वैल्यू उतनी नहीं रहेगी, तो उसको हम डिस्काउंटिंग भी करते हैं। वेटेड एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल एक वर्ड होता है, विच इज़ वॉट, आज अगर आप डेट लोगे तो क्या रेट होगा, प्लस उस डेट को मैनेज करने के लिए भी कुछ कॉस्ट लगेगी, इज कॉल्ड एज वेटेड एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल. So if you discount that money into the current net present value, so at what rate it has become zero? Outflow has become inflow. And normally what does an investor look for? आपके 5-year period में, if this is around 15%, minimum 15%, then this is an investable business. I should invest in this particular company. And why 15%? 6-7% FD में मिल जाएगा, बाकी वेटेड एवरेज कॉस्ट, और अगर वो इक्विटी या सब में लगाएंगे, एंड देयर इज़ अ रिस्क ऑल्सो ऑफ हैविंग अ बिजनेस, सो मिनिमम 50%, 15% नहीं मिल रहा, देन व्हाट्स द फन इन इन्वेस्टिंग इन अ कंपनी? So normally in India, any kind of project or any kind of investment is expected to return 15% IRR. Is it clear? Any questions? Yes.
Sir, what exactly like the standard dilution like you suggest at each stage of startup? Like if somebody at pre-seed, right? So he might be having his product, or like he might be at this ideation stage. So what do you feel as an investor and also favoring startup? Like how much standard dilution like he should keep in mind?
What do you think? How much you should invest at the start?
No, like
So what do you think? As I'm just asking, what do you think? How much you should dilute at the start?
so I feel that like as per my experience and also like operators I know I'm working with. So, but still I want your feedback. So like I feel that at the pre-seed level, the person should be ready at least for the 8% of the dilution. And as he move forward, the number should be like the 6% next. But he should be like we have to make sure that at the Series A level, that ideally the founder should have enough equity at least to have some governance to move forward with the Series A. That's what I think.
Partially right. What is the ultimate aim of a company by raising funds. क्या अल्टीमेट एम क्या है?
Scale faster.
Scale faster and then go for an IPO. कंपनी बड़ी होती है तो, and when you go for an IPO, then you need to also dilute certain stake. Why? Because during an IPO there are certain laws of the land that you need to comply with, plus you get good returns. And after a founder who has put 24 hours of his life every day, every night, would like to get good return during an IPO. And the best time to get the return is during an IPO only. उस समय if you don't have a substantial stake, then पहले आपने सब लुटा दिया. So I'm moving from an outcome, then I'll move to the start. First. Second, if you have a substantial stake, which is 50% plus, then you are able to run the company the way you want to run. If you have stake less than 50%, then whoever has the majority share will run the company operationally. What does that mean? If you want to hire, if you want to launch a new product, if you want to approve the financial statement, if you want to create a new manufacturing setup, you can only approve in a meeting. Rest all work done will be done by any other individual who has the majority share. इसका मतलब आपकी कंपनी को किसने ले लिया? जिसके पास majority share है. And आप सब पैशनेट हो, आप चाहोगे नहीं कि जो कंपनी को ग्रो कर रहे हैं मैंने किसी और को दे दिया इतनी फास्ट. So do that during an IPO or maybe around before an IPO fundraise. आप क्या करना है आपको? When you are in a very growth or a seed stage, whatever money you need, you will have to take. So 8% can't be the criteria there. It has to be dependent on the money that you need, because at the start you don't have enough money in some cases, but you need money. आपको 2 crore रुपए चाहिए तो 8% में नहीं मिलेगा, depending upon the valuation of the company that is there. So at the seed stage आपको थोड़ा ज़्यादा या कम देना होगा depending upon your requirement. However, from your seed stage till your IPO, then you govern how much do you want to dilute. फर्स्ट स्टेज में आप थोड़ा डाइल्यूट करो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन योर फंड रिक्वायरमेंट. उसमें डाइल्यूशन की ना सोचो. फर्स्ट नीड इज मनी. मनी आएगा तो ग्रो. इट्स लाइक चिकन एंड एग. वही नहीं आया तो कैसे ग्रो? फिर कहाँ सीरीज B1 कुछ नहीं होना वहाँ पे ना IPO. सो फर्स्ट स्टेज में यू नीड टू डिपेंड ऑन द अमाउंट दैट यू नीड एंड द स्टेक दैट यू वांट टू डाइल्यूट. देन यू कैन रूल, बिकॉज जब एक बार रिटर्न आ गई देन यू गेट कॉन्फिडेंस. देन यू विल कॉल द शॉट्स in the meeting. No, I'll want more. I don't want this. I want an incremental 13. I want 32 times of EBITDA. Then only I will dilute. क्योंकि उस समय आपके पास एक इन्वेस्टर नहीं, कम से कम 5-6 इन्वेस्टर्स होंगे who are ready to invest. Because success is seen, and success is also seen in the future through your reports or your pitch deck. Then there will be 2-3 investors who may want to invest in your company. So आपने if in the first stage you have invested and someone has invested and diluted, you have diluted 20%. In the next stage maybe 10% only. क्यों? क्योंकि 20% जिसके पास है वो जाएगा और कोई आएगा. 20 में से maybe if he is selling only 5%. So 5 plus आपने एक 10 दे दिया तो दूसरा वाला एक 15 पे आ गया. And the old one is at 15. And balance 70 is available with you. थर्ड राउंड में क्या होगा? अगेन जो फर्स्ट में आया था वो जाएगा. एनी इन्वेस्टर हु इन्वेस्ट हैज़ अ लाइफ ऑफ अराउंड 4 to 8 years, मैक्सिमम 8 years. इन एक्सेप्शनल केस जहाँ पे आपका बिजनेस एकदम ही खराब है, अदरवाइज 4 साल में निकल जाते हैं इन्वेस्टर्स. 3 to 4 years मैक्सिमम. सो जो जाएगा फिर दूसरा आएगा तो उसका शेयर तो ऑलरेडी एक इन्वेस्टर के पास जाना है. प्लस यू ऑल्सो मोनेटाइज योर स्टेक सो दैट यू ऑल्सो गेट सम मनी. बिकॉज अपनी लाइफ में कुछ सपने भी तो देखे होंगे ना आपने. अब गाड़ी, घर, बंगला सब कुछ होना चाहिए. तो वो सब monetization time है wherein you can use this money for your personal needs and try to monetize those stake dilutions. It's not only change of hand कि 20 वाला गया 20 आ गया, you also sell. During IPO, then sell basis the need, which कुछ regulations. I'll not again go into details, but if you are a promoter or a founder of that company, then there are certain limitations also. उसके ऊपर आप sell कर नहीं सकते हो, एक लिमिट कर सकते हो, पुराना वाला एक और सेल करेगा, प्लस आप एक एडिशनल फंड रेज करोगे अपनी कंपनी के लिए, वो करके आप मेजॉरिटी से नीचे जा सकते हो. पेटीएम है, who was the founder or the owner, how much stake does he have now? 8 to 9%. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is only having now 9% stake in Paytm, but he's a public face.
Vinderwal, I guess, had only 3%. And he,
6%.
6. And he stepped down as the CEO, right?
He is the vice chairman and director now of Zomato. Reason? Did you read the news? What was the news? Why did he step down?
He wanted to pursue some of his personal projects which were not aligned to the company's vision.
Because as a founder आपने जब एक बिजनेस खड़ा कर दिया है ना, आपके पास इतने आइडियाज़ होते हैं कि आप सब कुछ इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहते हो. And Zomato or Eternal being a listed company, he can't do everything in that. There is a governance. मैंने governance की बात करी थी. Board will not allow. He wants to maybe open a lifestyle company. Board will बोलो main business is your quick commerce etc. और Blinkit है, food है, delivery है, उसको grow करो. There is so much of growth available. एक और lifestyle we can't open now. So
I guess he's focusing on that as a space.
he has 3-4 ideas. This is one of them, but he wants to now finalize one of the idea which he wants to pursue. But again, it's very difficult and emotional and I'm not sure. Anyone who has created a company and sold the company in the past? ना, ऐसा कोई स्टेज अभी आया नहीं किसी का, क्योंकि 2-4 फेल होते हैं तब जाके एक सक्सीड होता है. ऐसा नहीं कि फर्स्ट टाइम यू विल सक्सीड. अगेन देयर इज अ रेशियो ऑन प्रोबेबिलिटी देयर. सो इफ यू फेल का मतलब क्या है कि आइदर द बिजनेस हैज नॉट वर्कड वेल और यू हैव टू सेल एट अ डिस्काउंट. But you again have an idea, you create a new company and then do another stuff. I hope I have answered your question.
I have one question. Just for example, I am able to convince a bank that right now they give me a loan of suppose 1 CR. And there is an investor who is ready to give me that 1 CR at suppose 50% dilution of equity. What should I go for, a loan or equity, and why?
You only need money or you need something else also. फन वन की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, बिजनेस की बात कर रहे हैं. नो एंटरटेनमेंट.
Keeping the contacts aside, yes, mostly money. So if I go with, I'm aware if I go with the loan scheme, I might not get the right contacts. But apart from that, is there any other difference?
So through loan you get at an interest rate of 9 to 10% maximum, or maybe 11-12 if you are taking a personal or an overdraft loan. Hardly that rate, not more than that. आपको मैंने क्या बोला, इन्वेस्टर क्या देखता है, रिटर्न और क्या है, 15%. So which one is expensive, equity or debt? Equity is expensive. So if you don't want to leverage their contacts, their expertise or their skills in your business, debt is better. But now again situation, आपने पहले ही और 3 करोड़ का लोन ले रखा है. Now you want to take another loan. Basis of financial you can take it. But should we take that loan? Then there is a debt equity ratio that you need to manage. कि आज आपने इतना डेट ले लिया, कल को डेट इक्विटी रेशियो विल गो हेयर एंड यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू इन्वेस्ट, और एनी इन्वेस्टर विल नॉट इन्वेस्ट इन अ कंपनी की जो डेट रिडन कंपनी है, ये तो अपना डेट पूरा पे ही नहीं कर पाएगी अगले 3-4 सालों में.
बैंक विल आस्क फॉर कोलैटरल, इन्वेस्टर तो अपना भी रिस्क ले रहा है, इक्विटी में भी लेस रिस्क as compared. So bank will ask for collateral, but investor is risking itself कि अगर business fail होता है, investor is also failing. So maybe debt is then more expensive in that case.
No, so bank is taking collateral to the extent the amount that they have invested. आपने collateral चलो पूरा दे दिया, बट क्या वो उसमें से उतना ही पोर्शन लेंगे जितना आपने डेट लिया है, या उतना ही वो collateral लेंगे, राइट? इन्वेस्टर जब इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं तो उसमें क्या हो रहा है कि दे आर टेकिंग स्टेक इन योर कंपनी, एंड इफ़ यू हैव अ ग्रोथ प्लान इन योर कंपनी, देन इट इज़ वाइज टू टेक लोन देन इन्वेस्टर, बिकॉज वंस यू ग्रो, आज जो आप 100 का 500 मिल रहा है आपको, कल वो 300 का 1500 मिलेगा ना. 100 का 500, 300 का 1500 है. सो विच वन इज एक्सपेंसिव? आपने आज 100 में दे दिया, कल को आप 300 में दे, 300 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 500, 1500 में दे सकते हैं. However, if you need advice, sometimes what happens, it's like branding only. हमने branding की बात करी, एक बड़ा इन्वेस्टर आपके साथ अटैच हो जाता है, तो it's like a big thing for you, for the company, कि हाँ, this investor is associated with your company. And if that investor is invested in your company, then lot more suppliers will come to contact you. Customers will connect with you कि हाँ मुझे भी business दो. Investors भी वो नए customers ला के देगा आपको. So all of these things will happen through invest.
I want to share my insight on this. So let me answer your question based on that experience. So see, when you raise some money like from a bank, right? So you will be only getting a money, right? And you have to pay a money. But when you raise from the investor, so not only like the person is coming, but he will he will give his contacts, share. He will be getting an external validation, right? If one person invests, right, you will see 10 more people will come because they will get a FOMO. And also, like not only you will get advice, you will also get a resource as well. Like if you want to hire a person, like which you will be giving around 25 LP, right? You can go to the investor, you can tell them that okay, this is a requirement, and right now we don't want to spend. Can you share like your resource? Because you might be like invested in some other 10 companies. So you will get a lot of leverage. So I believe that it's all about कि आपको जो अपना कैप टेबल है इसके साथ शेयर करना है, right? So investor and founder like relationship should be also aligned. So अगर आप गलत person को कैप टेबल पे लेके आ सकते हो, then he will not, he will create trouble also. So yeah, you can take a money from the bank if you don't feel any अगर आपको validation नहीं चाहिए, आपको contacts नहीं चाहिए. So that's what I feel. It's all about आपको किसके साथ cap table share करना है.
Right. Thank you. Next comes return on investment. What is return on investment? Yes.
Sir, I have a question. It's a very honest and broad question. So I'm at a stage where my MVP is somewhat functional.
What is not functional?
My MVP is functional, somewhat functional, and I have a pitch deck. And I do think it's the right time to start approaching the investors, because until now I've been applying to some of the grants like the EIR grants. I applied probably last time, probably 3 months back. But I'm quite not sure how should I target investor and what is something I should expect.
No, go for grants now if you're able to get the grants. So first thing is take the grant. Then go for investor, not now. First thing is grant. Use that grant well. And then go for investor if there is some, I think, output basis the grant for the purpose which you have taken that grant money. Because then there will be something to show that you have done this basis the money that you have.
And like I'm participating in some pitching competition because getting money from that is easier.
Again, there are both aspects. If you are participating in pitching, it helps you also learn and grow, because then you also understand what others are doing, where you need to improve, so that you continue. And if you are able to get a fortunate or a good, I think investor, nothing like it. But continue doing that, because that's how we learn. The many businessmen or the owners, how are they able to present well? Because they have gone through those grillings multiple times, and hence they are able to perform the way they are performing now. So continue with the pitching, and if you're able to get a good investor, nothing like it. Thank you. Return on investment. We discussed return on entertainment. The same way it's return on investment. So whatever profit that you have, basis the investment that you have done, is a percentage. and it doesn't measure the time value of money. So there is no net present value computed here. This only helps कि 100 लगाया 15 आ गया 15% I am earning, very good. So it's like return on investment. For any investor, if or for your project also, if you want to measure, always measure payback for decision making. कोई प्रोजेक्ट आप कुछ भी स्पेंड कर रहे हो तो पेबैक निकाल के देख लो. पेबैक सही आ रहा है तो गो अहेड. डोंट गो इनटू रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट, IRR, NPV, etc. Simple payback use करो in your daily life so as to decide what you want to do in those projects. Return on investment or return on capital employed are normally used when you are doing, I would say, medium size or a major investment. उससे क्या होगा, you will get an idea whether this investment will give me maybe in the next 4-5 years, at what percentage every year I am getting. I'll just show you an example also of a model as to how to compute IRR, NPV, etc. and payback. You have a question? We spoke about all the financials. Gross sale, I spoke about discounts, net sales is like revenue. I also spoke about various expenses, selling, distribution, marketing, administration, executive. That's how you should create your 10-year long-term plan. Right? Then there comes any kind of investment that you want to incur. This can be land, building, plant and machinery, etc. Plus then there will be a working capital also required. Working capital has what all elements? Inventory, account receivable and account payable. Inventory is the days of inventory that you hold. AR the time in days in which you will be able to recover the money from the customer. And accounts payable, the time you will take to pay the money to the supplier with whom you are procuring. So if there is a growth in the business, there will be a working capital blockage also, because आपका इन्वेंट्री आप उतना एडिशनल रखोगे, उतना कस्टमर को आप सेल करोगे, उतना ही आप रॉ मटेरियल खरीदोगे. So both taken together will be kind of a cash flow that you will have. उस cash flow को there is a template which you should always fill. जो आपके 10 years हैं, तो आपने क्या किया, अर्निंग बिफोर इंटरेस्ट टैक्स, उसके बाद आपने टैक्स को माइनस किया, एक आपके पास कैश फ्लो आ गया, कितना आपके पास पैसे जनरेट हो रहे हैं एवरी ईयर. देन any kind of capital spend that you have done at the start and every year that you would be doing. Then the working capital changes because of the increase in the AR, AP and inventory. Right? ये सब तीनों मिला के ऊपर वाला ये 5.6, then capital expenditure, then working capital changes, you come to net after tax cash flows. So this much you invested 69.4, then every year you are generating. ये भी नेगेटिव 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 जाके ईयर 7 में जाके मेरा कुछ ब्रेक इवन बना. So year 6 plus some months of year 7. So your payback is roughly 6.2. There's a formula. I'll share the formula with everyone. Through that you can calculate. Internal rate of return. This particular project which I am referring to was giving 49% return as an IRR. And मैंने क्या बोला, 15% plus is always no brainer. You go ahead and do that particular project. Right? अब देखो आपने 70 करोड़ यहाँ पे, I'll give you an example here. You have invested around 66 crore plus certain working capital, etc. So around 69 crores is giving some return, and your value and the volume is also increasing. So net present value of those 70 crore plus the every year the volume and the minor capex that you are doing has led to 1100 crore of valuation. आज उसकी वैल्यू 1100 करोड़ हो गई 10 years. जो आप ग्रोथ लेके आ रहे हो, रेवेन्यू लेके आ रहे हो, जो इंक्रीमेंटल केपेक्स कर रहे हो, बट नॉर्मली वी शुड लुक एट 15% नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू विच इज 700 करोड़. So what we have discussed in relation to payback, we need to calculate for all the regular projects that you are doing. Return on investment should be done for a business in entirety or a major project that you do. पूरी आपने लैंड बिल्डिंग प्लांटिंग मशीन लगाई, देन गो फॉर रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट कि पूरा सेटअप करने के बाद मुझे क्या रिटर्न मिलेगा वहाँ पे इन द नेक्स्ट 5 years 10 years, जिस होराइजन में भी आपने वो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की है कि मैंने बिल्डिंग लगाई है, इससे कैपेसिटी मेरी लास्ट नेक्स्ट 5 years आई विल बी एबल टू कंज्यूम. राइट? Any questions in relation to all of these? So we spoke about the blue chip parameters, the business plan bifurcations, business plan indicators, projects karna hai. Then we spoke about the P&L breakup, how you should create optimistic, base case, pessimistic situation, and some discussions on the queries that you had. And then in relation to the returns, because everything this P&L, working capital, etc., then leads to ROI, internal rate of return, and payback. Any questions? Done. So if there are no questions, I think I hope you have been able to understand the various facets of finance and as well as startup and the investment. There are more knowledge and experiences basis the things that we have done. We can share as we move ahead. But I think this was the topic that I wanted to share from a financial perspective. Yes.
So before going to an investor, since startups, when they initially incorporate company, they are not very much aware about the capital structure, what the kind of capital structure there should be in their authorized capital, whether there are subsections for preference share, equity share. So before going to investor, should we work on that too, capital structure, or before committing to an equity or something?
See, preference shares, etc., are all the modes of raising money: debt, preference share, etc. When you go to an investor, you need to be clear how many, I would say, business, if you have multiple, that you want to pitch for, how much stake that you want to dilute. Third, what kind of valuation you are looking at, and the entire pitch deck which I spoke about. These are the only thing that is required. It's important to have a clarity on the cap table as he mentioned, so that we get a clarity as to how much are we willing to dilute while discussing with the investor at different stages. Okay, so thank you everyone. Yeah, if there are questions. Yes.
So my question is from CM123 slide. At an initial level, there are lots of fund involved in developing a MVP. So how should I decide CM1 margin, CM2 margin, CM3 margin, so that we can recover the whole initial fund of MVP development?
So there are two elements. One is a development cost, another is manufacturing cost. So if there is a development cost, always make it part of your indirect fixed cost. And I hope you are aware in the profitability statement, if you are a private limited company, if you are incurring certain development cost, including the time spent by you, it can be capitalized, which means it will not be part of your P&L. It will be in the balance sheet and उसका सिर्फ depreciation आएगा नीचे. So आपकी profitability सही रहेगी. यहाँ पे cost आएगी नहीं उसकी.
Ideally, इसमें CM1 to 3 margin कितने रखने चाहिए?
डिपेंड्स ऑन द डिफरेंट मार्जिन एंड डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्री. अगर आप सपोज हेल्थ केयर और में हो तो आपका CM1 नॉर्मली 70% होना चाहिए, राइट. ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और सेलिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नॉर्मली 10 to 15% आपकी कॉस्ट होती है, तो नॉर्मली 50 से 55 शुड बी योर CM2. Direct fixed cost would roughly be around 10 to 15%. तो नॉर्मली CM3 आपका रफली आ गया 40% on an average. Then indirect fixed cost would be your rental, administration, etc. तो वहाँ पे 20 से 30% के बीच में आपकी वो कॉस्ट आ जाएगी. So then operating profit or EBITDA will roughly be around 10% to start with. Gradually you will bring in more efficiency. Target to 10% gradually of EBITDA becomes 20%, maybe in year 5. 10 becomes 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Thank you. You have last question then. Same question. Okay. Okay, I think thank you, Professor Manu and Dr. Sada, for inviting me for this particular topic. I hope I have been able to do some value add to the entire, I would say, attendance and the participants who are here. Thank you. Thank you to all the participants who are here, on people who are on call. It was great interacting with you, and I hope I have been able to share some value add with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for the insightful session. And I'm sure that this session will shape your startup, and it will provide you basically a right direction to move forward with the startups that you are working on. So not taking much of your time, we have Nitin, founder of Poppy Pie, with us. He has some announcement to make. He'll only take few minutes. So after that, you all are cordially invited for tea, which is outside in the corridor. We have the arrangements there. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you, sir, for so insightful session. I'll just take 5 minutes of your time. After all of this discussion, one thing is that is important, that what does a startup need? It needs awareness, it needs investment, it needs traction, it needs learning from such people. So imagine a scenario where all of this comes under one roof in just a 2 days time of one event. So I myself, being a founder from like past 2 years, was facing this problem, and we designed a concept of Startup Mela. This event is happening on 28th Feb and 1st March in collaboration with Department of Technology Enabling Center, Department of Science and Technology. So this event is happening on 28th Feb and 1st March, Sector 34 Exhibition Ground, the main ground, Chandigarh. And we'll also discuss the Chandigarh startup policy, plus a lot of things will be happening there. For more details, you can visit the website www.startupmela.com. Each and every detail is available. There will be a lot of good insightful sessions, interaction with investors. We are having like a good footfall, and this event is planned there. And thank you very much.
Thank you.